strong rule number 3 on how to just separate yourself from the pack. Do not talk about other people. Hey guys, what's going on? So this is a video on how to become better than 99% of developers. Dare I embellish upon it, say 99% of people, how to stand out, right? I know that's a bit of an arrogant take or angle to initially start a video, but you know, if you guys want to get ahead in life, this is a video that you could hopefully steal ideas from, that I've embellished it. I don't mean it in a holier than thou type sense, but I do mean it in a self-righteous sense of trying to find value optimizing yourself. So let me try to explain it in engineering talk and beyond engineering talk. I would say these concepts apply to all pillars of life, or many pillars of life. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience on separating myself from the pack, whether it was with lacrosse, whether it was a group of sales guys, whether it was with engineering, whether it was this, that, or the other. I've done it with music as well. So I've done it a few times, and basically the things that I've noticed here is 99% of people. And if you want to separate yourself, and you may not even want to be, you know, the upper echelon. I don't even know if I am in the upper echelon of things, but basically, if you want to be in this area, whether it's the 99% or the 10%, and this is 90%, I just want to bring some concepts to life that I know have held true in, like I said, many different industries, whether it was sales, whether it was music, whether it was software, for all of it. And maybe I can give credentials on this or not. I want to show you guys what I've accomplished, but yeah, take my word for it or not. But the point is, these concepts hold true across all of these whatever thing you're doing. So here's the thing you're doing. In this case, it largely might be software for many of my viewers, but this applies for everything. Fitness, I'm not the 1% of fitness, so I can't give you like granular tips, but I can have ideas on how to accomplish you know, upper echelon percentages to separate you from others. So guys, first concept, whether you want to be part of the 90%, 95, something like this. Step 1, don't do what the 95% are doing. Step 1, right? So when I was in college, majority of kids partied. Don't get me wrong, I had my fair share of enjoyment. Do not get me wrong, I certainly did. But rule 1, don't do what the majority are doing. So this is rule 1, guys. I need to zoom in. How can I zoom in a bit? Boom. Rule number 1. Don't do what the majority are doing. So if you want to end up in this bucket, let me get a fun little arrow. Woo! You want to end up in this bucket, just simply don't do what these people are doing. So if it's within, again, let's give us a topic, right? Within academics, right? Within academia, the academia, that's not how you spell academia. I don't even know if that's how you spell academia. So yeah, you know what I mean. But the point is, whatever the thing is, just don't do what these people are doing, and vicariously you're going to float to this side of the equation. It's really that simple, at least to that degree. So while in college, many people were out partying, many people were out doing this, that, the other, many people were not working out. Many people I knew had very similar upbringings that I had, very similar opportunities, very similar financial backgrounds, this, that, the other, and they wasted it on, let's say, what did they do? They partied. Sure, you know, enjoy a little bit of life, but not too much, right? Partied, drugs, right? What else did they waste it on? Entertainment, maybe. Meanwhile, how is that going to keep up with the guy over here who's waking up at 4 a.m., me in college, right? Who's studying economics, right? Who's studying music, right? Who is studying fitness. And my vice in college was the opposite. Well, I don't want to highlight too much on my vice in college, but I had one vice in college. But the point is, if this is where, I'll say relationships. Perfect. Okay, so if I'm doing this majority of my time and waking up at 4 a.m., and this is your average college student over here, waking up at, let's say, 10 a.m., how are those two habits going to compete across time? Now, and I only say this because initially I got so much crap from these people. Oh my God, you're never going to do this. You're hearing this, that, the other. And then I just still kept doing the habits. And what ended up happening, and I wasn't 100% perfect on these habits, but what ended up happening across time, if you count 5-10 years, is there's now a huge gap that's completely separated that these people who participated in these things will never be able to keep up with. Because the trajectory of where they're at is just too, we're in two different separate opportunities, two different buckets of networks, of people, social opportunities, business opportunities, financial opportunities, things like this. So I'm not judging people like this. And in fact, you might build a brand on stuff like this if there's YouTubers who do this. So they're using this type of lifestyle to build their brand, which is perfectly acceptable. Do as you wish. I'm not telling you how to live your life. But if your goal is to, let's say, get great GPAs, how are you going to compete as a student versus a student who's just not doing what you're doing? You're not. You're simply not. So, but again, if your goal is maybe to build a brand around stuff like that, like it all depends on your goal. So build a brand around partying, right? So this is like, there's like the Nelk guys. They've made millions of dollars doing this. So they've actually done this, but they exist over here, and they've weaponized this as part of their business model, which is brilliant. I think that's an amazing thing to do. So it all depends on your goal. But in this case, whether it was getting good academics, for me, the students who did not do these habits, how were they ever going to keep up with this? And the answer is you're not. So that's step one. Just rule number one, don't do what the majority are doing. And again, let's take it out of this, because I'm not really in the fitness industry. I wouldn't say I'm like, okay, fitness, but I'm not like the number one guy to go to for fitness stuff. Let's talk about people who like this rule exists across all things. So if you're in the fitness industry, right, and let's say majority of people eat bad food, me included, right? They eat fast food, right? Eat fast food. They don't work out every day, right? Don't work out every day. What's the next thing that fitness people do? They take care of their health, vitamins, supplements, right? So for this side, they don't eat vitamins and supplements, right? Versus this side of top people in the world that we'd say are like really fit people, well, they probably eat good food. They just simply don't do these things. They eat good. I'll just keep that as these 2 points. They don't eat fast food, I imagine, or very seldomly do that. They probably work out very often or every day, work out very often / every day. They probably eat vitamins and supplements, right? And I'm sure there's more to it, right? There's probably a ton more stuff to it, but just bird's eye view, looking at your habits of like, here's what I do. And you have to be objective with yourself. I recognize even out of this video, people are going to hate me for it. They'll be like, oh, that's so rude. How dare you say these things? But it still holds true. The habits don't matter. The reality does not matter. Like, your feelings are irrelevant to this point. This is a golden rule for everything. Like, just if you want to be in the upper echelon of things, and the people who I'm gonna get crap from are gonna be the people over here. Typically, they're not gonna be the people over here. People over here are like, no, I'm too busy doing this stuff. I don't even have time to get mad that someone made an obvious point. So, step one. Again, I just want to reiterate, this is for everything. It doesn't matter. Music, okay, so what do majority of rappers do, right? Majority of rappers and producers, what do? Smoke weed every day, right? Smoke tons of weed. They go to the studio to party, right? They don't do research on publishing companies, on distribution, on like just bird's eye view, whatever. They probably don't perform. Like do shows and things like this. What do the top musicians do? Well, they probably, maybe as advertised, a lot of them do kind of the smoking stuff. But I was someone who opted out for those things, at least certainly towards the professional-esque part of my career. I networked instead of spent time doing that. Networked, And I did not go to the studio I went to studio to make music and focused. And I did research on publishing, royalty collection, all this stuff, and distribution systems, all these things, right? And I did performances. And those things alone, and these things are hard to accomplish, by the way. They're not like overnight. I'm making it sound like it's an overnight thing, but those things alone had actually separated me to say I have been a professional musician at a point in time in my life, garnering hundreds of thousands of streams, small record label offers, things like this, and even radio plays internationally. Like just those simple habits alone, those simple daily habits, had separated me entirely from these other musicians. Where even if I want to go back to music, I'm going to run circles around majority of these people who do this. Now, I don't want to, come speak poorly on these other individuals or whatnot, but you have to just analyze that this rule is true for anything. And I would say I'm like a 5% musician. So there's even a set of rules that probably occur for even the top 1%, right? Like I imagine it probably breaks down even more. There's probably even rules for the top 0.1% of things. Basically, what I'm describing is the Pareto distribution. For those unfamiliar with it, so it is that the upper, what's it called? The upper percentage of things are responsible for the majority of the work. The lower percentage of things are responsible for the minority of work or production or output. So, for instance, if you study like historical music, right, with like Beethoven, Chopin, Mozart, and a few other guys, like there's like 8 names who are responsible for like 90% of classical music. That's what the Pareto distribution is. So, or at least one way it's been applied into modern society. So, the point I'm trying to make is there's rules with each one of these sections wherever you want to end up. This is the Pareto distribution either by wealth or it looks like by IQ, because that's about IQ, the highest IQs over there. But basically, is saying that these guys over here, the 0.1% or the upper 1%, are responsible for a majority of the results, and these people, the majority is responsible for the minority of the results. This holds true in very, 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 very many things. So these people will produce this many results, while these people will produce this many results. It's an exponential difference too. It's not even just like, oh, these people produce twice the amount of results. It's usually like 10 times the amount of results that these people produce. So that's the other thing. Rule 2, understand the Pareto distribution. I don't think that's how you spell it, but guys, I'm a seller, not a speller. I think that's how you spell it. So rule 2, understand the Pareto distribution. So again, and I'm just speaking from personal examples. Within software engineering, right, I had a group of software engineers that I learned software with, and there was a bunch of us, maybe 5 to 10 of us, and one of us went on to go get enterprise opportunities, build amazing products, things like this, while the majority did not. And again, why was that? Well, instead of going out and partying, right? And this is you know what I mean? This is going to hurt some feelings, but I'd rather teach a lesson, an honest lesson that could hurt feelings, but it's actually worth gold across time. So, and I would say I'm probably not, the upper echelon of engineering, but the point is if you want to get ahead of, I think this is going to be a good example right here. There's habits and rules associated with each one of these categories of where you want to be in life. So let's say your habits over here are going to be poor to fair, and it's literally all about habits, is what I've noticed, right? Poor to fair, and your habits are going to be over here. They're going to be fair to good, and your habits over here are going to be good to great, and your habits over here are going to be great to excellent. So, and this holds true. I have a great dear friend of mine who his habits over here are phenomenal. The guy is bulletproof. He is the go-to guy. Super responsible. He's not responsible for majority of the results. He's actually definitely one of the guys responsible for majority of the results in his life, right? In the company he works for. He's very responsible, very respectful, very kind. And I would argue I need to learn from that. Those habits are over here that I have to learn from him. Maybe I exist over here, right? And I'm still learning from someone over here. Oops, guys, sorry. But his habits are phenomenal. He is solid, bulletproof. Can't catch him on an off day. Every day for him is a hyper-productive, successful, excellent day. You have to what? You're like, okay, so he does not miss. He does not miss. And that is why he is where he is. Amazing friends, amazing opportunity, amazing financials, amazing things like this. Meanwhile, I am where I am because maybe I'm not learning from the habits that this guy has mastered and figured out, as well the attitudes and things like this. That, so maybe I'm over here, maybe I'm crossing the threshold over here, but certainly I know I am not over here into this domain. I have to learn from that. So likewise with the people over here, I need an arrow. So the people over here need to learn from the people over here. The people over here need to learn from the people over here. The people over here need to learn from the people over here. The people kind of at the upper echelon are just in competition with their future potential. That's it. What's possible? That's what they're focused on. And these are the Mozarts. These are the super talented. These are the 0.1% of, not everybody's going to make it. That's the reality of it. So that's what these people are focused on, is the edge of possibility in today's current environments of this, that, the other. So when people are over here, right, saying stuff, because this is what I've also experienced very, 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 very commonly, is when you interact with people over here, they always have something to say. They will so I would say rule 3, don't worry about what others are doing. Use that energy for yourself, for bettering yourself. Boom. So people in this category will always have something to say. They always talk bad about people. They always, it's always something. It's every single time. Every single time. They always have something bad to say about the people up here, this person or this person. Oh, have you seen that Jake Paul kid? He's such an idiot. Have you seen that thing on TV? What a bad actor. Have you seen that Tom Brady guy? He's such a bad football player. Weird. Tom Brady's paid $80 million a year. I don't think he's a bad football player if he's paid $80 million and for football. So I would say strong rule number 3 on how to just separate yourself from the pack. Do not talk about other people in a bad light. Unless you're maybe saying, hey, there's this habit I noticed about you, or if they ask about constructive criticism, I think it's fair then. But because I did kind of just roast people in a bad light, so I'm kind of guilty of rule 3, but I'm trying to do it in a teaching sense. But the point is you don't want to talk about these people. You don't want to talk about, oh, Kevin Durant's such a bad basketball player. You need to go figure out how to play basketball if that's what you're doing. Oh, that guy who's doing software, he's such a weirdo. Okay, that's awesome, but he's too focused on software to even care about what you said. So it's not going to affect these results. And it's let me actually draw this out real quick on how this probably looks. So again, the higher you go up in these categories, I'll put these rules over here so we can kind of visualize who's responsible for what. Let's say these people are responsible for the minority of the results. These people are responsible for this many results. These people are responsible for this many results. And the upper echelon is responsible for the most results. So that is the Pareto distribution. It's an exponential curve. But the point is, let's keep unpacking this just a few more steps, right? The point is, if you want to get ahead, you can't listen to these people, and it's family members sometimes, it's friends, it's people, it's the teacher at school, it could be very many people. But you have to say, okay, they are choosing to exist into these things. I don't want to equip, because I don't want to make it seem like the habits of these people are all just like the minority or something. But there is a sense of a strong majority. Let's see. I guess what I'm trying to do here is break it up where there's kind of a even smaller minority of people who just have even worse habits. But let's just keep it like this, right? And the lower down this direction you go, the more this way. Let me move my face, grab this arrow. Basically, this has been my experience. The more this way you go, the worse the results and habits go. The worse these people talk about things, the worse their structure is, the worse their discipline is. And the more this way you go, when you meet the upper echelons of engineers, of academics, of even people who are building the party brands, of like whether it's Nelk people, whether it's those type of people, whatever your goal is, the stronger their habits become, the stronger their relationships become, the stronger their attitudes become, the stronger their all that stuff becomes. And I think you can only do that if you're worried about yourself. Not in a selfish, narcissistic way, or a self-conceited way, but just in it pays you no good in your day to talk about whoever on TV. Oh, that guy's such a bad motivational speaker. Okay, that's awesome. Sure, maybe he's working on it. Nobody's perfect. Michael Jordan wasn't the best basketball player when he was born, so I'm sure he had to put in time and hours to practice. So does the motivational speaker. Give him a chance. Give him an opportunity. Let him work on his craft. Let him become his thing. So this applies though with sales. This applies with engineering. I've noticed it to be a bulletproof observation of my life. It's kind of this idea. So all I can speak on is my experience, but I don't want to speak too much on my experience because I sound arrogant when I just talk about myself in all these episodes. But even in sales, I used to work door-to-door sales, and I existed over here on the results, at least when I was certainly taking it serious. This is where I was existing. And I would have, like, let's say my first month of doing it, I had like 21 contracts wrote up, 21 sales, selling roofs. Huge results, right? That's 21 of these little guys, 21, boom. And the worst guys had 0. And then maybe the middle guys would have like 2. Maybe some guys over here would have like, I don't know, 8. And then there was another kid who was even nastier than me, he had like 14 in a week. It was crazy. But so for a month, right? This is roughly what it looked like for some of the people. And I forget how many he had. We'll just put we could put more, 50, doubled mine, right? And the point is, you could see, I'll put mine, how about right there? Put his at the most, and you could see that there's a correlation. It doesn't just double. It's not just 2 sales to 4. It's 2 to 8 to 20 to maybe even more. It wasn't this many, but we were competitive for the upper. I'm just trying to build a point here. It was probably, I don't even remember. I'd have to call my buddy to get calls, but I know it wasn't 60. But it would be nuts if it was. It would be nuts if it was. It was because he had hit 14 in 1 week. I don't know, like we call it 100, right? We could up it for sake of this point, but it realistically was probably like 30. But point is, you can see my competitor's side of still better, right? but the point is, there was also a strong correlation with the number of doors that we all knocked. So every day, no matter what, I would make it a goal to knock on 50 doors. 50 doors. So by the end of the week, for 6 days a week, I'd have 300 doors. And then some of these guys, it would be less. It would be like 10. So by the end of the week, they would have, let's say, maybe 50. Maybe they even worked 5 days while I worked 6. And then some of these people would work like 1 door a week or 1 door a day. And you'd have, I don't know, 10 by the end of the week or something much significantly smaller. And you could see just simply by putting in more work consistently, again, just having a good habit of like, come hell or high water, I'm doing 50 doors a day. pushed me into this upper echelon, just simply by not doing what these lower habits did, by not focusing on what they were doing and focusing on what I was doing. It simply separated me from the majority, same with this guy. So if you don't worry about what other people are doing and put that energy into yourself to better and further yourself, again, how is this person, let's ignore this, right? How is this person going to compete when they're focused on me, or let's say they're focused on this person, right? When they really should be focused on their own habits. So if you're focused on just the next person above you, which is what majority of these people do, oh, that girl from high school, she's such a B word. Yeah, okay, nobody cares about you. Like I'm sorry, you're not doing anything special in life. Like I'm sick of living in a society where we're allowing all this opportunity to be wasted. It's such a waste of energy. It's such a waste of time and efficiency to talk about other people and do this whole gossipy deal. Granted, I still probably participate in it, but I try to crack down pretty hard on myself. I don't want to participate in it ever. I don't want to be a part of those groups of people. I don't like people like that at all. So, because it's disrespectful. It's a waste of time. It's honestly a spit in God's face. It's like, God, you've given me all this opportunity, and I'm going to spit in your face about it and talk about your other children on it. Like, it's so disrespectful. So this is what these people are doing. And guys, I'm kind of only doing this as a teaching point, but this is what this person's focused on. If they were focused on how much they could do and their own daily habits, they took that same energy, they would probably have a gazillion sales. And with a gazillion sales, you get a gazillion dollars. You get all the results. You get everything. You get everything you want. Not literally a gazillion dollars, but you could make $100,000 doing that. No problem doing that. So that's why it doesn't pay, again, dividends to do what the majority are doing. And this is consistent even with software engineering. So even with that, right? So we would hop on Zoom calls again, guys, and I'm sacrificing my own stories and potential reputation to explain these things, because it's something I've observed very many times, whether it's music, whether it's sales, whether it's software. And some engineers would do like one algorithm on the call, and they would talk about this, while I would crank out as many as I could on the call. I'd still talk, whatever, but sometimes I'd miss calls. It's like, guys, I've really got to write the code. I don't really have time to like when you got to get the results, you got to get the results. There's no time to. And like I said, out of that group of people, undeniably, I ended out being one of the upper engineers who had one of the better opportunities. It still remains to be such, of better opportunities, better things. And it might say it certainly is arrogant, and you know what I mean? I don't mean it to be that way, but I also know there's other engineers who've gone on, who know way more about, everything I do. So I'll bump myself down in the scope of engineers, right? There's way more brilliant engineers than myself who have even more opportunity, more money, more opportunity, more this, better things. And that's the whole point is even now, I guess in the sake of this conversation, I'm like still kind of focused on these people a little bit, even just, you know what I mean? But I should be majority focused on what I could do. And I would probably even be a better engineer myself. So really, it's even advice for myself to take, but it's something that I've observed very, very, very curiously or vicariously many times, guys. And I'm only saying it because I think majority of people want to get ahead. But if you're on Twitter and you're tweeting stuff, oh my gosh, right? Oh my gosh, Becky's such a weenie, right? Oh my gosh, Becky sucks. Oh my gosh, that new Marshmello song is horrible, right? While you're doing that, whether you're in engineering, whether you're in whatever, this person over here is writing new AI algorithms. They're writing new AI algorithms, right? So while you're wasting time over here, this person's actually ticking the box to get ahead. And it might be a subtle change. It's like, oh, well, I only made one tweet like this. But again, it's really, and this is where maybe rule 4 is success is small. It's a small thing. It's not this glorious, beautiful act. And this is what I've definitely observed. Even with door-to-door knocking, there's a guy who's making $300,000 a year doing that. And all his habits are just a little bit better. So we all show up to the same room. We all show up to the same thing, but there's such a significant difference in result just because of a tiny change. So success is small. So while this person, and again, some of software, it's not like these other people are incapable of doing these huge algorithms or building their own SaaS products and stuff. It's not that at all. They're brilliant people. They're very, very smart, very talented people. But if you're talking about these things at work or whatever, and this person's writing new algorithms, or maybe this person's writing new AI algorithms, and this person's building a SaaS, and this person is doing both those things, right? Both these things, right? They're just bulletproof habits or whatnot. You could see that across time. It's a small change. It's just, hey, I'm just not participating in those conversations. But across time, a gap grows so big where you can't measure up to it. And that's where, let me move my face again. Let me grab this arrow, where the gap between these things is huge. So this person, right? And guys, I'll explain this too, even with dating, because I think women are actually the number one real life macro example of everything I'm talking about here. But let's talk about it here. So this person, right? The gap to get from there to there is about that big, right? So maybe they can catch up. They're like, okay, let me stop talking about Becky and let me start writing AI algorithms. I'll put in a little extra time. You could write some AI algorithms, but the gap to catch up from this point to this point is now, if not double, it may even be more. And the gap to catch up to this, it's not 4 times. It's probably even more. It's probably, it's even more. And I'll explain why. Because these people at the upper echelon, not only are you probably going to get more pay, let's say all these people, it's 4 buckets of people who work at the same company. This person's talking about Becky. This person's writing new AI algorithms. This person's building the new module. And this person's managing all 4 of these, or all these 3 other people, and doing other things. This person is going to get invited to upper management meetings. This person is going to get tasked with new responsibility. They're going to have new say in tech stack. They're probably going to get more pay. They're probably going to have a better title. They're going to have all these other things with them, associated with them. So it becomes like, you can't just jump to that even if you wanted to. And in today's world of tweeting and Instagram and everyone's voice can be heard on every platform, we think that this is possible, but in reality, it's not. You literally have to go through each step. Oh my gosh, Becky sucks, to, well, let's get better, right? Let's stop talking about Becky and let's start doing something else, right? And then let's start, building even on those skills, and then waking up earlier, staying later, doing those things. And then you could ultimately get to those upper levels, and then maybe even go on to start your own company, your own business, those things. And you're now effectively ahead of 99% of people. This goes beyond just engineering. This is 100%. These are the 4 things I would lean on. And women, right? Let's talk about women. Hypergamy. This has also been my experience. I want to see the image where, oh, this is perfect. This is the exact image I was looking for. So with women, right? Guys, and I'm not trying to make this a point on red pill or blue pill stuff. That's not relevant to me. I don't really care about this stuff. I'm just speaking on what I've observed as a software engineer. I'll probably make a video just on dating from an engineer's perspective. But majority of women go for the upper echelon of men, meaning majority. So the men, right? This same concept exists across all things. So we just talked about software engineering. I will say the same thing for women. Let's say you're a man and you want to get girls, or you want to get a wife or something like that. Well, I'll tell you the best way on how to potentially approach that. So, boom, let's delete these things, right? Let's talk about the men who maybe don't get the girls as much. What are their habits? Okay, well, let's just be super shallow. What do all women want? Well, they want a guy who's funny, right? So maybe we'll say these guys aren't funny or not working on their humor, because you can kind of curate these things. What do girls also want? They're like, well, I want a guy who's jacked and buff, or at least somewhat fit. Well, okay, they're not working on fitness. Well, I want a guy who is social and at least has some status. Or okay, so not working on relationships, whether it's relationships with your family, your mom, your dad, your friends. You're not curating them. Women appreciate these things. They do. For those unaware, let me teach them. They certainly appreciate these things. So not working on their humor, not working on fitness, not working on their relationship. What else? Well, I want a guy who makes a bunch of money. Well, okay, not working on their money, not working on their financial opportunity. It's tough to do all these things, by the way, guys. I'm not saying it's easy. This is not like, oh, these things are all super easy to do. Every one of these things are tremendously difficult to accomplish. What else? They want a guy who, and I'm just saying, like, the bulletproof, like, ideal man that every girl would be like, oh my God, I would absolutely marry that guy. They would marry the jacked football player who makes a ton of money, who's super smart, super funny, and fit as ever. That's like a girl's idea, who can fix cars and, I don't know, basically what's the ideal man, right? For from a woman's perspective. So he'd have to be funny, he'd have to be fit, he'd have amazing relationships, amazing social status, amazing money, and he probably has multi skills, right? So multiple skills. So we'll say in the lower habits, the guys who don't maybe get the most opportunity with women, because this is a real thing, guys. This is not me making it up. This is a real thing that is experienced in society, and I think it's women just literally they've probably wired, like, across success, across time, they've probably been built to kind of replicate what success is, or what, and that's kind of all I'm teaching you guys, is like how to become more successful in these steps. I know it's harsh, I know it's rude, I know it's like borderline arrogant, my nose is stuffy, so it sounds even worse, it sounds even more snarky and whatnot. I'm not trying to be, guys, I promise, but I've experienced this in my life. When I wasn't as funny, when I wasn't as fit, when I wasn't having as good of relationships, I existed over here. And majority of the women, like that would be me back in the day, was way over here. I would never get opportunity, never get dates, never get first kisses, never get all that stuff. And then you work on your habits. Maybe you have a few of these things, right? So maybe I started working on my humor. So a little funny, right? A little humor, maybe a little fit, right? Little fitness, but no strong relationships, no good money, things like this. No multiple skill sets, like knowing how to change a car tire, knowing how to shoot a gun, knowing how to fix a light bulb, knowing how to fix a sink, like tiny things, right? Just things that emit competency for a woman, right? Let's say over here, a little working on the financial opportunity, a little work on multi-skills, right? And then the men who have all the women, right? Virtually all of them, right? So if you think of like basketball players after a game or something, or like a rock star who's sold out a 200,000 person venue, they virtually can get all the women, right? Like, not saying it's fair, guys. I'm just telling you what it is, So it's a lot of humor, right? Maybe these things aren't like 100% accurate of how I'm explaining it, but a lot of working on relationships, a lot of working on their financial opportunity, and because rock stars, some of them aren't fit, so it's one of those things where it's like it's like a pie chart. Like if you have more of this, a girl might be willing to accommodate for, oh, you got way more money. Well, okay, maybe you don't have to be as fit, but I'm telling you, a girl would always choose the guy who has way more fitness and way more money. If you have both those things, you're gonna be hopefully existent higher up here. So I don't like the terms alpha and beta and all that stuff. I'm not trying to make a red pill, blue pill point. I don't really care for all that stuff. I'm simply making a point that even this diagram of results, if you will, of like the results here, like getting a girl, this is still true. This is still exactly true. Even the guy over here, the 95% of men will get far less women than that 0.1% man, than the guy who has all these things dialed, who's fit, funny, great relationships, great skill sets, great financial opportunities, great or financials even, great accolades, great humility probably. Like I probably exist right here, right now in my life, so I'm trying to bump it over, try to learn a few things, But the point I'm trying to say is even from an opportunity standpoint with women, guys, and I'm not trying to. I'm settled down with one girl. She's an amazing girl. So I'm not like shopping, but I'm just telling you from what I've observed from friends, what I've observed from other men, what I've seen in life. If you don't get this, and you want to get mad about it, you can get mad about it, but it doesn't change anything. If you want to get mad about it, and you want to talk about, oh well, this guy over here, he said this, he's a software engineer, he's rude, da 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 da. This guy over here, he took my girl. This guy over here, he's a whatever. He's a Joe Schmo. Okay, stop talking about other men. Start putting the work in, right? Like some things you can't change, right? Like the idea. Looks like the laundry's done, guys. But so I'll wrap it up here. But this concept of what I'm talking about literally exists across engineering, across music, across sales, across things, accounting. If you want to be the best accountant, get better habits. All these things that I talk about still it exists across all of it, for entrepreneurship, for money, for whatever, for YouTubers. Even the upper YouTubers make up majority of YouTube, while the rest of us mortals, right, we exist over here. So I hope this is a fruitful. It's a harsh conversation. I recognize it's probably going to piss some people off, but you got to break eggs to make omelets. And I would rather, if I died tomorrow, I would rather offload real information that's actually useful, where someone's like, okay, let me try to understand this, because I'm giving you game. I'm giving you advice for life, at least from my experience. I'm still a young guy, still learning, but this has undeniably been. I could talk about it how I got into college from an academic standpoint. I could talk about it from sales. I could talk about it from women. I could talk about it from engineering. I could talk about it from music. If this is a common theme across all these things, I'm probably onto something. So I think other successful men that I've talked with as well, they're teaching me these things. People who are more successful than me, I'm learning from them about this similar stuff of like, hey, this is what we're working on over here. So let's get out of the girl category or women category. But I only brought that up because I think women have evolved to model how success looks. So that may not be 100% true. It may be, it may not be, but it's even the same concept I'm trying to teach of how to get above 99% of men. It even works in that field. So if it works in that field, this one, even at times I was down here, and it's like, well, I could argue it. I could talk about the people over here. I could talk about the people. And I used to when I was younger. I used to get, so I want to hop off my high horse because I'm kind of sitting here sounding snarky, right? But I used to be over in this area, and I'm speaking from experience that this is what I've noticed. Hey, why am I talking about these guys? Why am I talking about the guy with a girlfriend? Why am I talking about the guy who's getting all the girls at the party? Does he care that I'm talking? Do the girls? Is he still going to go home with them? Yes, he will. Hey, why would I talk about the guy making all the money? Is he still going to go make more money? Yes, he will. He's a great businessman. Hey, why am I talking about the YouTuber, the basketball player, this thing? Like, it never provided fruit in my life. So the quicker you can understand that, this is just a rendition on the whole episode. I'll wrap it up here, but that's the summary that I would definitely stick to is how to get above 99% of people is don't do what 99% of people are doing, right? Like, it's that simple. If everybody's going out on Friday, you stay in and study. You do that for 5 years, I guarantee you, find something to study. Figure out business, figure out languages, figure out YouTube channel, figure out 50 different things to study. You will be so much farther ahead than the people who've been partying for the last 5 years, to a point where they'll never be able to catch up, even if they wanted to. Kobe Bryant said it. He said he would just wake up at 4 a.m. and he would have 3 workouts a day or 4 workouts a day, while his teammates would have 2 workouts a day. And after doing that for 10 years, he's now effectively, he's now worked out 20 years worth of time, while his teammates have only done 10 years worth of time. So even in the next 5 years, if they wanted to catch up, they can't. They literally can't. It's a 10-year gap, and he's still working at that same rate. So it's smarter to get on this sooner than later. So don't do what majority are doing. 2, understand that Pareto distribution, that a serious gap does happen, right? Because now Kobe Bryant's getting better offers, he's getting Nike deals, hundreds of millions of dollars. Things that even if you played in the NBA as a bench warmer for 10 years, you may never ever accomplish just because of the Pareto distribution, even if you wanted to. So you have to be very, very, very understanding of this, that it's the rich get richer, the rich get even richer, because when there's a big financial opportunity, they have even more money to get even more opportunity. So Pareto distribution is very, 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 very keen to understand. Rule 3, I would, as it's easy to do. I've done it. I'm still doing it even, it's easy to worry about other people. It's better to use that energy worrying about yourself and where you're headed. And rule 4, success is small. It's not this big grandiose thing that we see on Instagram of like, oh, Lamborghinis and da 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 da. They're just a little bit different. It's like a billionaire. How does a billionaire doesn't have a billion more hours to work? So how could they? So we're all given 24 hours. How does a billionaire generate $1 billion more than you and I? It's not that the billionaire is working 1 billion times harder. It's that they just have a few different success things, and it's the Pareto distribution. At some point, they're way up here for their time and their return on time, where it doesn't matter if you worked 18-hour days. There's something you need to change about your habits, about where you're focused, your energy, the people you're around, your network. There's something you need to change to at least climb up the hierarchy here. So I've noticed it in my life. These are rules that are as good as gold. You focus on these, you absolutely undeniably will climb up the hierarchy. Now, I even need to refocus. So these are objective rules. These aren't PAG's rules. These are the rules to success. I don't own them. They're not loyal to me neither, right? We can all get mad that women want the highest value men and their perception. We could all get mad at it. We could all sit here. We could all get angry at it. Or you can take all that same energy. You could take all that same energy and try to climb up the hierarchy. There's definitely more, guys. I am not the knowing-all. I wish I knew more of them, because there's definitely 5, 6, 7, 8. There's rules beyond this, and I will share them with you guys as I learn them and understand them. But I certainly don't know all of them. I wish I knew more. I certainly do wish I knew more. But this is my podcast, I guess, on how to get ahead of 99% of people or engineers, whatever thing you want to apply it to. I think knowledge is good as gold, because it's not knowledge loyal to me. I promise you that. So I hope that's helpful for somebody. I wish the rules of the game could have been different, but these are the rules of the life that I live in and the world that I've observed. If you've observed other rules, this would be good. Comment things to success that you've learned below. I would be super, super, super curious to learn more. And yeah, but see you on the next one, guys. That was kind of a hot take.